who's advising them? Who's advising these two? Because what they're doing is not working. Hi, welcome to my channel. My name is Dee and I'm gonna get right into it. So, Harry and Meghan. Boy, do you remember the day? Do you remember the day they got married? How beautiful, how perfect that was. All the other royal weddings I'd seen Charles and Diana's wedding and also William and Kate. The weddings were beautiful, but I remember that those days were overcast. You could tell that there were clouds in the sky. The day Meghan and Harry got married was such a perfect day. The sun was out, the lighting was perfect. It was just beautiful. That day was so, it was so filled with promise. We looked at this beautiful young couple and we thought, this is exactly what the royal family needs. These are the two that are going to usher in a new, modern, sleeker, very aesthetic, very Instagram appropriate, compassionate and intelligent monarchy. And the monarchy is an institution that has been kind of on the decline in terms of public opinion for a really long time. They're kind of old-fashioned and old and clunky and unnecessary. But Harry and Meghan really kind of made people look at it and go, it looks like it's getting interesting again. But then here come the attacks. The attacks began really quickly. The sun is really bright. Anyway, the attacks started against Meghan. They started comparing her to Kate. When we look at the different headlines that were given to each one, you could see that they were being very kind to Kate and very, very hard on Meghan. And it was obvious to everybody that liked the couple, and the people who disliked the couple just didn't see the difference in the reporting for them. Then the media just started really picking on the slightest, silliest little things about Meghan, and then the attacks just escalated and they became more vicious. I remember everybody talks about when the Madame Tussauds Wax Museum, how they, after Meghan and Harry decided to leave their roles as senior royals, how they removed them away from the royal family. But I remember that before that had happened, I think it was around the time when Meghan had her celebrity-filled baby shower, that the media just pounced on her. And at that time, the Wax Museum removed Meghan's figurine away from Harry and the rest of the family and put her with the celebrities because they thought she's into celebrity too much, so we're gonna put her over here. I remember that. I couldn't find any news clippings about that incident. I feel they scrubbed them from the internet. But if you remember when they first removed Meghan and put her away from the rest of the family after the baby shower, leave your comment below if you remember that. But I remember specifically that's when I remember thinking, so the woman had a baby shower and they feel that she's no longer welcome in the royal family? It was a really interesting time. And then we started seeing the cracks starting to appear in Meghan and Harry. Meghan, when she did that interview when they were in South Africa, and the interviewer asked her, how are you doing? And she said, well, thanks for asking. Nobody ever asked me that question. And then Harry, I think in that same interview, he was talking about how he feels every time he sees the flash of the paparazzi, that he feels like his family is in danger. And we started seeing these cracks in these young people that we had put so much hope on. We started seeing, whoa, they're cracking under pressure. Yeah, this is harsh and this is difficult, but can you just, hold it together? It seems like they just couldn't. Until finally, #Megxit, when they just made the announcement that they were no longer going to be senior working royals. Now, the announcement was made and there was a lot of confusion. There were people who to this day believe that Harry somehow abdicated the throne, his place on the throne, and he removed himself from the line of succession. That's not true. And it was at this point that people were making a lot of comparisons between Harry and the Duke of Windsor when he abdicated the throne to be with his wife, Wallis Simpson, who's an American divorcee. I mean, we all know the story. But people were making comparisons as if it was the same situation. It was not. However, I want to make a little pause here. That interview that she did for The Cut, the cover photo that they put there, I think it was like a dead ringer for Wallis Simpson. Those green earrings were so similar to that classic photo of Wallis. And I don't know if it was intentional or it was an oversight. It had to have been. Either the photographer knew what they were doing or maybe Meghan requested it. I don't know, but that's not a good look for Meghan to be compared to Wallis Simpson. Wallis Simpson is known as the Joko Ono of the royal family, which is not a good title you want to have, and it's one that they want to pin on her. But anyway, I just wanted to make that point right now. Harry never abdicated his position in the royal family. He's still in the line of succession. He's number, I believe, seven or eight, but he's still there. They're still royals. They're just not senior working royals. And there was that fallout. And this was when we really started to see things starting to fall apart with those two. The announcement that they were stepping down took everybody by surprise. Apparently, even the palace was taken by surprise. There were some talks behind the scenes, but the way the announcement was made so hastily took everybody by surprise. And then it felt almost like it was done in a chaotic, unplanned way. It was kind of sloppily done. Because after they made the announcement, there was another announcement that there were going to be talks between Harry and the rest of the family, and they were going to decide how they were going to work things out. And all the reasonable people sat back and thought, shouldn't you have had these talks before? Shouldn't you have worked this out before making the announcement? What's going on? Who is advising you? Who came up with the decision? Who made the announcement? Was it a PR person? Was it Harry himself who sat down and made and wrote it down somewhere in his palm and then sent it somewhere? It was very, very strange and kind of disappointing the way it was done. Then we started seeing the real chaos. They kind of fled the UK, went to Canada. They were there for a minute. Then the media announced where they were and they were fearing for their lives. So they fled to California and they were staying in Tyler Perry's house before they could finally get their own place. And I was among the people who were watching all of this and thinking, is anybody in charge here? This seems like a circus that's out of control. It seems like nobody is in charge. Nobody knows what they're doing. And is that safe for these very visible royal family members to be just kind of like leaves in the wind, not knowing where they're going to land? It was very disconcerting and very painful to watch for some of us who were rooting for this couple, who were on their side. We were just wondering what is going on here. And then there was the infamous Oprah interview. Now, at first, when I saw the interview, I thought, good for them. Good for them. They finally get to sit down and explain their situation. And they actually, watching the interview, I learned some things that put a lot of clarity behind why they made the decision to leave. And so at first I thought, this is really good. This is a good thing that they did. They're taking their narrative back. They are now in control of what comes out. about their situation, and good for them, they're speaking their truth. But then when the dialogue about the interview started making its rounds through the media, I realized, this kind of was a mistake. Why do I say that? I think they made two very good points that clarified their position when they made that interview. Number one, and to me this was a bombshell that for some reason didn't make the rounds the next day in the news. Harry explained that they had never intended to stop being working royals. They never said, we want to stop working, we want to stop representing the Queen, we just want to go away, do our own thing, and make our own money. That was not their intentions when they approached the palace with their news. What they had actually wanted to do was to step down. Instead of being senior royals, they could be, junior royals. I could be wrong about this, but I think Princess Anne and other members of the royal family who are very much a part of the working crew of the family, they just aren't the main face of the family. And that's what they wanted to do. They said, let's just step down a little bit, let William and Kate take the shine that they desperately want, because it seems to me that the rupture happened after William and Kate saw that Harry and Meghan were getting all the love and the accolades and the applause from the public. They felt like maybe they were being outshined and that it wasn't fair because they were the ones who were one day going to inherit the throne. And they felt that, they were the young, fun, modern royals that should be having all the attention. And that's when they started resenting Meghan and Harry. And so I think that Meghan and Harry thought, okay, if that's the problem, if that's the reason behind all this controversy, let them have the shine, let them have the spotlight. We will take some steps back. Maybe we will move to one of the Commonwealth countries in Africa or in the Caribbean, somewhere, Canada, where we can just live a more subdued life, where we don't have to be in the spotlight, taking all the shine from the main players. And the royal family said, no, we're not going to do that. We're not going to do that. If you're stepping down, you have to leave, like really leave. And when Harry explained that in the interview, I thought, oh, that's very interesting. I did not know that that's what the conversation was. The other thing that was mentioned there that nobody talked about afterwards is the fact that Harry dropped the bomb that the tabloid editors and the staff at these tabloids that had been hammering Meghan, they actually have a secret deal with the palace. They run all their stories through the palace for approval. And they have such a cozy relationship with the royal family that every year their Christmas party is held at Buckingham Palace. That was a bombshell. That was major news that uncovered the fact that the family, the royal family, was in cahoots with the media to take Meghan down. And I personally thought that that was going to be the big bombshell that was going to make the rounds the next day on the news. And none of those things were the main story. You know what was the main story? That little anecdote that Meghan said that one of the members of the royal family was asking how dark is the baby going to be. Now, that was kind of scandalous, but the way people made that the story of the interview, I just thought that was the most low-hanging fruit tidbit that they gave. And you may disagree with me, but I'm of the mentality that that story should have never been mentioned. Nobody should have ever known what was said, because clearly what was said by a senior member of the royal family, my money is on Camilla. I think it was either Camilla or William. It was one of those two. As offensive as that was, it should have stayed within the family, because it was said in a private setting amongst family. And sometimes when family gets together and they're in a place where they can feel like they can talk in confidence, we say some very offensive things. We say some things that are very ignorant because we feel like, okay, I'm amongst family. This may be stupid for me to say, but I'm gonna say it because I'm in a safe place, in a safe space. And I think that's where it should have stayed. As offensive as it was, you don't expose your family like that. You just don't do that. It shouldn't have come out. But however, that is what the media focused on. And of course, the people who hate those two just pounced on that. Why are you bringing this up if you're not going to say who said it? It's just going to make people speculate. It's going to make people call names and be looking at them like they're a bunch of racists, which they are. But again, it was just inappropriate for them to bring that up to the interview. And obviously their enemies pounced on that to make them look even worse. And of course, now the latest that has come out, the latest interviews that Meghan has been doing, her podcast, I feel like it's all just going downhill from here. It's all just going down, going down, going down. First, we have the podcast that Meghan did. Very successful podcast. It's doing very well. Congratulations, Meghan. You're #1 on Spotify. But your first interview with the wonderful, magnificent Serena Williams, which should have been all about her. But Meghan couldn't resist the opportunity to say something about herself and mention, the little things about herself. And she even mentioned an incident that supposedly happened when they were in South Africa. And there was an incident where supposedly there was a fire in little Archie's bedroom, and there are conflicting reports. Apparently it did happen, but the way she said it, it came out as more dramatic, and it opened the door for people who have a conflicting story to contradict her and once again call her a liar. Then there was the interview for The Cut, which I think was a disaster. It was a disaster, that interview. I actually had to read it because I'm thinking, no, it probably wasn't as bad as the media's trying to make it seem. It was worse. It was worse. She came across, first of all, the writer was snarky as hell. The writer, you could tell that the writer was annoyed to no end with Meghan. Then Meghan, she was so self-aggrandizing. She made that comment about how somebody, a South African actor who was in London for the Lion King live action presentation, supposedly said to her that when she and Harry got married, that in South Africa they rejoiced in the streets like when Nelson Mandela was freed. And of course, apparently that did not happen. It probably, this is what I think, it probably happened when she went to South Africa those years back when Archie was a baby, and she got confused as to who said it when. But again, why would you bring that up? It's like they can't hear themselves. It's like they can't hear how it's coming across. It's unnecessary. It was unnecessary for you to say that. This sun is so bright. Let me see if I can move. Or maybe, let me see, hold on. Okay, it's a little better. Sorry guys, your girl was taking shots to the face and I just couldn't, I couldn't take it anymore. Okay, where was I? Yeah, like I was saying, the whole Nelson Mandela thing, it was just too much. And I just wonder, it's as if she in particular can't hear herself, how it's coming across. And when you know that there's so many people out there that are waiting to, they have their weapons just trained on you, you have to move smartly. But anyway, the interview, I think it was a disaster. And then the pièce de résistance. She does this interview with Mariah Carey in her podcast. I'm gonna be honest with you. When she announced that her next podcast guest will be Mariah Carey, I just had a feeling. I just had a feeling that some mess was gonna go down. I'm like, these two biracials are gonna say something offensive. I just had a feeling. See, the thing is, every time very light-skinned, racially ambiguous, white passing biracial women get together and they start talking about how hard it is and how difficult it is. It may be difficult. I'm sure it is difficult living that life of being in between and not being one or the other and not being really quite accepted. But it's like when they start talking like that, Black people collectively just kind of just go like, really, girl, really? It's like, Kim, there's people that are dying, remember that?
What's wrong with you guys? My diamond earring came off in the ocean and it's gone. Kim, there's people that are dying. I just told.
It's the tone deafness. It's the tone deafness for me. That's what it is. That's the problem in this whole thing. But anyway, she made the comment that she had never been treated as a Black woman until she married Harry. I know what she meant. I know what Meghan meant when she said that. She didn't mean it as an insult. She was just saying that even though she's always acknowledged that she's half Black, she has never, I don't think she has ever denied it. She has never shied away from it. She's never tried to hide that about herself. She's always known that about herself. But never in her life had it been, her Blackness been focused on, so laser focused, the way it was done by the British media. It was never like, okay, from now on, you're just this. Her whole life, people have treated her like kind of like an in-between. And the truth is, when you live in the world that we live in, being treated as an in-between is not as bad as being treated as a Black person. And I think that's what she meant. Like, wow, for the first time in my life, I felt the weight of racism like I have never felt it before. I'm sure she's had her little racist incidents here and there, but because she is biracial, because she is very light-skinned and white passing, and she has the luxury of straightening her hair to remove even more of that ambiguity and lean more into her whiteness, because she's had that luxury of being that chameleon, she's never experienced what it is to have that bright spotlight on your Blackness and it being regarded as a bad thing. That's what she was saying, which makes sense. But to a lot of Black people, to a lot of Black women, it was kind of like a slap in the face, because what it sounded like is that she was saying, I hate that they see me as a Black woman now. That's what Black women heard. That's what Black women heard. And Black women have been her number one defenders. And when they heard that, it was like, there she is. There it is, another one of these light-skinned girls who pretend to be our friend. But now we see how they really feel about us. They're like, yeah, I'll be your friend, but I don't want to be you. Gosh, who wants to be you? And it's unfortunate, Meghan. You should have known better. You should have been media trained at this point to know what are the trigger points. What are the things that you're not supposed to say because they're gonna come across a certain way. So far, everything you have said and done has been picked apart by the vultures in the media, by the racist media, has been picked apart and made a spectacle to make you look bad. And now you get caught on a mic saying something like that without even stopping to think, how is this going to make Black women feel? And I know that in her mind, she was thinking that it makes her sound like an ally, like she's in camaraderie. Like, now I finally know what it is to be a Black woman in this world. No, you don't, Meghan, and you never will. You could never understand what it is to live in this skin and to be looked at a certain way. And imagine, because I'm speaking from my position, from my complexion, imagine if you're the darkest of dark skin complexions, listening to Meghan say this. Come on, girl. Come on. So now, the last corner of unquestionable support that Meghan could count on the black woman, now there are fissures that are appearing. Now there's cracks there. Now you're starting to see, I was looking at comment sections of all the blogs and Twitter. Black Twitter was on fire when she said that. And it is now starting to crumble. And this was your last place of safety. And now it's in peril. Now, one thing about black women and black people in general, we're very forgiving. Black people are very forgiving, and I believe that she can still, you know, she can fix it. She can make us kind of go back into her corner, because say what you want, you know, there's a lot of divisions in the black community as it is. But one thing we're gonna do is we're gonna stand together against white supremacists. We don't like those people. We don't like being on their side, even by default. We will find a way to kind of distance ourselves from them. So as long as the white supremacists are out here saying horrible things about Meghan, it kind of compels us to take her side, right? But I don't know, this was a bad move. It was another bad PR move. And now Harry is writing a book. And I'm just, why are you all talking so much? Why are you doing this? And here's the thing. I understand when they were first, you know, kind of marooned, not knowing what they're going to do about security for their family, because the royal family had cut them off financially and weren't providing security for them. And Harry, being a good man and a good husband and a good father, you know, got in his protector mode, and he's like, okay, I need to provide for my family so that I can keep them safe. And so when they started receiving all these offers, they just decided, okay, we're just gonna, we'll take anything. Okay, you want to do a podcast deal? Yeah, we'll take it. A production deal? Yeah, we'll do that. You want to write a book? Yeah, we'll write a book. You want to do children's parties? Yes, for the right price. It's like, they just started saying yes to everything. And I understand that. But it's like they're not thinking clearly about how to execute these things. And Meghan is going to write a book. Trust. In the article, she made this passing comment about when they went back to the UK the last time, and they were cleaning out their old home and they were getting things, and she found her diary. And she's like, and I found my diary. And I said, oh, I remember this and I remember that. Shots fired. That was Meghan saying, oh, I have more to say, honey. And I'm going to say it in real time because I was writing everything down. I was keeping notes of everything that was happening. And I don't know if that's true, to be honest. I don't know if Meghan really left her diary back in the UK, because if she had, I can guarantee you when she went back to the house, she wasn't going to find that diary. Because I am sure that the royal security or the police or whoever, they swept through that apartment or the house where they were living. And if they had found that kind of compromising information, oh, it would have disappeared. They would have come back and be like, wait a minute, didn't I leave a diary? Diary? Oh, we didn't see anything. So I don't know. I don't know why she said that, other than to fire a warning shot and let them know, don't play with me, because there's more to come and it can get really ugly. But again, these people, I just wish they would move in silence. I really wish that there was somebody in their corner who was advising them correctly. Years ago, when they announced that they had hired some famous PR firm to handle their communications, I thought, oh, okay, good. They're in the hands of experts now. It's gonna be okay. Are they still representing them? Because all I see is the same chaos and the same bad press and the same bad moves. And I just see them flailing. And it's like nobody's helping. And I just don't, I don't know what's gonna happen now. So my advice to these people, if they happen to come across this video and they watch this, fade to the background. No, I'm not saying disappear. Obviously, y'all need to be out there. You have to make money. You have to maintain your security, your lifestyle. You need to be out there, right? I understand that part. But use your platform to shine a light on different causes, on other people that you want to highlight who are doing good in this world. Talk about mental health, but don't make it about you and your trauma and what happened to you and how people were so mean to you. Y'all need to stop saying that. You know why? Because you're rich. Y'all are rich. You won. You guys won. You are rich beyond your wildest dreams. You live in Montecito, Santa Barbara County, California. You won. I feel bad for Kate and William. They lost the bet. They're now stuck in these old, musty, moldy palaces, in their old traditions, in their rigid ways of life. I feel sorry for them and their children. They're the ones who are, they ended up with the short end of the stick. You came out on top, but you continue to make yourselves look like the underdogs, like the victims, when you're not. Yes, those bad things happen to you. And yes, Meghan, it's very clear that you went through pre and postpartum depression. I am so sorry this happened to you. But the clouds have cleared and you came out the other side of the mountain and you're at the top and you're doing very well. Use this platform wisely. You need your brand to be something that is to be admired, not something to be ridiculed, not something that is so annoying. You guys really need to rethink your strategy because this is not working. Please get some good advice and listen to the advice. Don't shun it away because it doesn't sound like something you want. Just pay attention to people who know how to play this game. Listen and learn. Do it for you. Do it for your kids. Because if you erode the last bit of support you have, back to the streets you go. Or worse, back to the royal family you go. And if they take you back, which they probably will, it's going to be worse than it ever was. So please, just do better. And I'm still #1 member of the Team Sussex fan club. I love you guys. I want to see you win. I want to see you do so well. But you have to change your methods because what you're doing is not working. Okay? Rant over. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. If you agree or disagree with me, leave a comment. Let me know what you think about this. If you'd like to see my take on other things, I have a lot to say. Please subscribe to my channel and I will see you in the next video. Bye.